Tell your friends! Tell your friends about Hooks and Ladders, but also about songstudio.ca. You can get all kinds of information about songwriting, tips, and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, like, follow, and subscribe. That's what we need. That's what you need.
Hey, welcome to Hooks and Ladders. What you're about to see is part of what we did at the SongStudio workshop in Toronto in July 2022. There'll be lots more to see. We're just going to roll it out a little bit at a time. So sit back and enjoy. And if you want to know more about SongStudio, visit www.songstudio.ca and check us out. Enjoy.
On top. Yeah. So now I'm going to play you something really simple, one of my own songs. And this was, I wrote a book of poetry, and there were a couple of the things that were obviously lyrics. And you said you start with lyric, and then you go to melody, and then chords. And this is exactly the same process I went through for this.
Right.
I was writing poems, and then I wrote one that I went, well, this is not just a poem. This is a lyric. This is I'm rhyming it. I have a rhythm structure. And I don't know what it's like for you, but when I'm writing a tune, and I'm writing the words of a song, the chords are kind of starting to form in my head, but the melody is making it so that I can hear where the chord changes are going to go. And so this is what a purely instinctive kind of tune. So, this was the idea of growing old. So that I was this guy that had been all the stuff we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
This teenager, and then had this talent, this ability. So I'd had a kind of a lucky, gifted kind of start to my life. But now, I'm an old guy, and COVID comes and I grow a beard, and then Blair doesn't even recognize me. And this is about trying to marry. This is how much I care about you people. I put fresh strings on this guitar yesterday. And I don't normally put fresh strings on this guitar because I like when the strings get old on this guitar. But I thought, no, those folks deserve fresh strings. So if it goes out of tune, fuck you. Okay? Okay, so you're probably going to have to edit that from... There'll be some bleeps. Some bleeps if you're going to put that on. Okay, so this is about the old guy trying to resolve himself to who the young guy was, and the young guy that's still inside you even as you get old, resolving himself to getting old. It's called Born to Pay. There's an old man in the mirror, gaining on me fast. His claim upon the future overtakes our glorious past. When it's coming down to him or me, it'll all work out okay, 'cause we both know the price that we were born to pay. When I was just a boy, full of promise, green and tender, I took so much for granted, no accounting for surrender. But now the changes come so fast, at the speed of light they say. Now that's the price every child is born to pay. Oh, devil at each crossroads, angel in my ear. Should I turn to face the music, learn this language that I hear? Should I wager all and let it ride, or fold this hand I hold and walk away? Hey. There's a sobering reflection I've grown to recognize, the telltale signs of showbiz lines from a master of disguise. But it looks like he's still game, with another round to play. He'll ante up the price he's born to pay. He knows I'm good to cough the damage each and every day, 'cause we both know the price that we were born to pay. Yeah, we both know that we were born to pay. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Now, I told you that I got to go see Lyle, right?
Yeah.
And you talked about Lyle.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If I had a boat, I'd go out on the ocean. Capo at 7. That's in my head. When I was writing the lyric, I was going, yeah, this is like a Lyle Lovett song. I gotta kind of find the place.
How?
So the capo fished around until right where he did, if I had a boat, you know, and he calls it the fucking pony song. He goes, I gotta do that fucking pony song.
So at what point in the writing process did you recognize that it was similar to that song?
I just, like, if you think about the way that phrasing goes,
Yeah.
you know, da-da-do-da-da-da-da-da. Do-da-go-da-do-da-da.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the changes. Boo-da-do-da-da-da. It's like it's the cadence that's suggested. The harmonic cadence exists like that. So that phrasing. So, and sometimes when I write lyrics, I'll write it and then I'll put like just little dashes over where I know that's where a chord change is going to go.
The pulse.
And then one of the things that I often do is I go, okay, where do I want the song to speed up a little bit? And where do I want the song to slow down? So, like, because you don't want a song to always be going at the same pace. It gets too boring. So that intro goes change, change.
Yeah.
Walk-in bass. This is lots of energy. And now it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it's important to note that Rik's not talking about tempo. Personally, I generally, not always, I generally hate songs that have tempo changes. Like tempo being, you know, bump, bump, and then slowing down. I don't mind slowing down at the end of the song. But then like having a verse and a chorus at different tempos, and every time you hit the chorus, you speed up and so forth. It's pacing. Pacing is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I when I taught songwriting, you know, there were certain fundamental principles that were really important to me. But they're important to anybody that teaches songwriting.
Yeah.
So, and everybody comes up with different names. There's a guy that teaches at Berkeley, and he wrote a lot of the stuff there.
Yeah.
So, not Pattison, but what's his name now? No. Melody and Songwriting by, can't remember his name now.
Paracol.
Yeah. Anyways.
Jack. Yeah.
Jack
Paracol?
Yes, we're close.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyways, he talks about songs accelerating and decelerating. Right. And so that's what I think of it as. Sometimes you want the song to start, ooh, I want to feel the energy accelerating. And then sometimes, like, there's moments in that song where I'm going, like, there's like a... So that little hang is like, that's a... Yeah.
You're sitting. Yeah.
So, and sometimes that's what you want to do. You want to have the thing build and build and build to a point where then it kind of stops. And then the hook comes. So it's like you're going, spotlight on the hook. I slowed my song down right to the point where you can't miss it, you idiots. You know? Well, you know, people are driving in their cars and they're listening on the radio. That's the old school.
Sometimes you have to underscore what you're doing and sort of say, here it is. Yeah.
Underscoring, overscoring, yes. Yeah. Well, engraving, tattooing, yes.
Your songs generally, like the hook is built around the title, generally, which these days people don't do nearly as much. I like it myself. That's what I do too.
Yeah, it's an old school kind of thing, writing the title.
Yeah.
But I don't. Some like Nashville guys they'll often have a title.
Yeah.
And go, let's write a song, and it's going to be called this. And that's a perfectly legitimate way to do it. But a lot of times I write until something comes to me out of the stuff, out of the lettuce that I'm coming up with.
Yeah.
And I'll go, ooh, that one's resonating with me.
Right.
And so now I'll start to try and build constructions to put that in the place where I think a title should arrive.
Yeah. My students, a lot of them seem to do what I always imagine them as painters wearing a smock and a beret, and at the end they finish painting and they stand back from their painting and they stroke their beards, even the women, and they go, what shall I call this thing of mine, this thing? And I always think, call it the repeating line that you've repeated 4 times, or the payoff position of like the opening line of the chorus, or how about et cetera, et cetera. I get frustrated, as you can tell, but it is a thing to sometimes, and it does sometimes enrich the experience of the song by naming it something that has no apparent connection to the song.
Well, I think of those things as poetic.
Yes.
Like that you take poetic license with a lyric and you go, okay, I'm going deeper into the soul of this one.
Yeah.
The spirit of this one in order to give it this kind of a title. And I mean, there's titles where, I've written songs where, title, bracket, subtitle,
Sure.
and bracket, like I've done those. But, I think one of the things that you have to realize about, the music business, when you're a songwriter and you become professional and your records are out and you're on the radio and stuff, and then you're looking at radio charts and you realize they don't even put your whole title. Like I write a song and my title is Lay It on the Line, and they just call it lay. Like literally, it's just lay. And you're looking at it, you go, okay, so being concise might be good. It might have some value, So, that was, it's a lesson from real life.
Right. Yeah. I remember the commercials with, I think it was Frankie Miller, a pop star from the 50s, doing these commercials. And who can forget? And these song titles are going by. But there would be the occasional one where the title wasn't the repeated part in the song. And they'd have that in brackets, even though it wasn't, so whatever the song was, it would be Smells Like Teen Spirit, but then, some other title that was the hook.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me, why not just go there? Why not just give people, but as I said, it can enrich, it can be poetic to have a title that comments on the material.
Yeah, and I think one of the important things to emphasize, in a circumstance like this with writers that are, searching, looking, I think it's important to say that you're the boss of you. You get to make the decisions. You get to make the choices, So, I can sit here and pontificate, and Blair can get up on his hind legs and bark. We can, give you information, but in the end, you're going to make your own choices and your own decisions. And that's good. The writing process is one where what you're trying to figure out is the thing I talked about earlier, that discriminating taste, that, no, by God, this is what I want, and this is how I want to say it. But if what you're doing is going, by God, this is sweet, and you're not sure, then maybe you got to do more research, and you got to do more work, and you got to do more writing, and you got to learn who you are in order to have a voice that when you say, this is my voice, this is what I can do, and this is what I'm good at. And that's a big thing too, is like, what are you good at? Because a lot of you go, I'm a writer, I'm going to experiment and I'm going to try this is crazy, I'm going to try that. You go, yeah, but that's bullshit. It's nothing. It's going nowhere. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't do anything. Songwriting is about more than any other form. It's about, you're there and I'm here and I'm going to give you something, and you got to get it the first time you hear it. The very first time you hear it, it's got to do something. So that means you're going to underscore things. You're going to simplify things. You're not going to try and be so poetic that I play the song. And this is a true story. Guy's in a Nashville songwriting thing, and a guy plays a song, and then everybody in the room goes, yeah, not sure I get it. The lyric was a little, and the guy goes, well, no, let me explain it to you. And the guy running the workshop goes, well, hang on then. Let's just pass out paper and pencil to everybody. And, you dictate what you think your song is about. And then when we hear the song, we can all see what you meant on the paper and when your explanation. And, let's see if radio goes for that.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, oh, fuck, Like, you only get one chance to make a first impression when you're doing songs. And, you know, when you want to make a favorable impression the very first time somebody hears it. So, yes, you are going to try and sort of simplify things, you know, and make them straightforward. And if you want to write poetry. That's different. And I've done that. And there's my editor right there. Sitting here going, yeah, his poems are crazy. Anyhow, no, my poems are not that crazy, actually. But they're not songs. Some of the things I write are songs, but poems are poems, and songs are songs, and novels are novels. And
Yeah, they're all distinct art forms.
Yeah.
For sure.
We hope you've enjoyed this little taste of the SongStudio workshop in Toronto in July 2022. Stay tuned for more.